My name is Daniel Master, and I'm director of the Leon Levy Expedition to Ashkelon. The job of the director starts long before the excavation begins. Before anyone gets here to start digging, the director has to think through a lot of things. First, the director has to think through the questions that everyone's going to ask once they get here. An excavation is about learning things about history. And so we have to think about the types of questions, historical questions, that we're trying to answer. Do we want to know more about the Canaanites or more about the Philistines? Do we want to know more about the Persians or the Romans? All of these are groups that are interesting to us, and so the job of the director is to think through the questions that we're going to ask when we arrive. The other thing the director needs to do is to find people. People make an excavation go, and so some of the people that a director has to find are the people who run different excavation areas, perhaps someone to run a Roman area, or someone to run a Persian area, or someone to run a Philistine area. But then the director also has to find people to work with the bones, or people to work with the seeds. All the kinds of things that we find, the director has to find someone who knows about them so that they can help us to answer the questions. All of that has to be done before the excavation even begins. So by the time people arrive in Ashkelon, we know what questions we're trying to ask, and we know who's going to help us try to answer those questions. Once the excavation starts, the job of the director is to make sure everything runs smoothly, to make sure all the people get along, to make sure that the bones go to the bone people and the seeds go to the seed people, to make sure that the people who are excavating in the Roman area have enough people to help them and they're finding the right kinds of things. The director works with all the different specialists in the excavation to make sure everything's going smoothly and that everyone's getting the information that they want. Once all the information is collected in an excavation season, the job of the director is not done. Far from it. Because the director is responsible to make sure that all the information that has been collected over the season is published. And this publication can take years and years. We just finished a volume 2 years ago that took us about 20 years to finish. And so the job of the excavation director can last a very long time after the excavation is finished. Not everything takes 20 years. Sometimes you write a small article or publish a small book that might just take 2 or 3 years, but still, it's a long time after everyone else has gone home. The director wants to make sure that the questions that we started out trying to answer get answered and that everybody learns about them.
Hi, I'm here to tell you what a grid supervisor does. And a grid supervisor is responsible for the day-to-day supervision of one of our excavation areas. So in the morning, I go over the tasks that we want to accomplish for the day with my supervisors, and then I help them supervise their volunteers. And so we teach them how to do archaeology, we teach them about what we're finding, and we teach them about what it means and how we continue processing data throughout the day and throughout the season. At the end of the season, I'm responsible for writing a report that tells everybody exactly what we found, how old it is or what period it dates to, and what we think it all means. So basically, I'm a teacher, I'm a manager, and a report writer.
Hi, I'm Laura Wright, and I'm a square supervisor here at Ashkelon. And so what does a square supervisor do? Well, I get to be in charge of about 6 or 7 different people, and they help me dig things up. And we get to see what the relationship is between, say, this floor and this wall, and figure out what's going on in the square. And then we have to take records of it so that no one ever forgets exactly what we found.
Hi, my name is Emily. I'm a volunteer here at Ashkelon, and a lot of volunteers are students coming from the United States to learn about archaeology from professional archaeologists. Volunteers' jobs entail doing a lot of the physical labor and digging all of the artifacts out of the ground. We usually come back and process the artifacts by washing the pottery and labeling it for them to read later. And that's what we do here.
Hi kids, I'm Jessica and I'm the registrar here at Ashkelon on the Dig. And a registrar is somebody who, when all the objects that they find out when they're digging in the field, when they find them, they bring them to me and I make sure that they're cleaned and that they're processed in our computer, which means that we record all sorts of information about them, like how big they are, how much they weigh, their length, and then make sure that they're packaged properly so that they're safe, so that later on they can be photographed and people who want to learn more about them and do research can find out more about them. And also when we record them in our database, then people can look up that object and find out where it is, either in the lab or out in the compound where we store them.
Hi, I'm Meg. I'm the microarchaeologist here at Ashkelon. Microarchaeology is the study of all of the human remains that can't be detected with the human eye. So some of the things I do are look at phytoliths, which are the small inorganic remains of plants, or look at the dirt under the microscope. With these things, we can tell a lot about what humans were doing in Ashkelon. We can tell what they were eating, what building materials they're using, and what the environment was like back then.
Hi, my name is Ben. I'm a GIS technician here at Ashkelon. My job is to do all of the mapping for the site. So we take our points with the electronic total station and we plug them into the computer and we create maps for all of the things that everybody finds, the walls and other things. And we can create these into 3D models and do special analyses with all of the data that we collect.
Hi, my name is Melissa and I am the photographer on the excavation. So I have a few different roles. I take photographs in the field, so if anyone finds anything like particular architecture or a floor that they need photographed, I come out and I take photos of that. I also take photos of all the objects that come out of the field each day. So anything from pieces of pottery to full vessels to little tiny beads. And I take photos of all of those, and I do that here, so I have a special setup for those. And I also take people shots throughout the day. So I document what people do and just take some fun action shots of people actually being archaeologists.